understood that your organization is liable to follow the GDPR, you could print out this slide and tape it to the wall at your desk. Because here is the most basic point of what you need to remember to do. One, first being to actually appoint a representative in the EU member state or member states where that will be affected by your processing if you're providing services to these member states or you have an establishment there. You need to check if you are required to have or if you really need a data protection officer appointed in your organization. You will most likely need to set up a record of the processing activities carried out. We highly recommend that you review the lawfulness of each processing activity being carried out. That is to say, determine what is the legal basis for the data processing being carried out. And we're going to discuss this more in the webinar. You need to review your present contracts with your processors if you are engaging the services of a data processor. There are new formal requirements to the contents of these processor agreements. You will, in some cases, will be required to execute a formal data protection impact assessment if the processing you do is of that nature. Even if it's not a requirement, it will often be of very use to do a more of an informal, regulated impact assessment. Everybody will need to provide information to data subjects about their rights and about the processing being carried on. Your organization needs to be able to ensure that data subjects are able to exercise these rights. You will be required to set up a data breach policy. The GDPR introduces as a new measure explicit requirements to report any data breaches to mostly to the supervisory authority, but in some cases even the data subject whose data has been breached will have to be notified of this. We strongly recommend organizations to review and set up if you don't have a privacy policy. Just as you are reviewing the legal bases for your processing, one such thing to review is the basis for any international data transfer being carried on. If your organization is moving personal data from the EU to the US or even to other foreign jurisdictions outside the EU or EEA, there has to be a legal basis for this transfer. And finally, but not least, there's now an explicit legal requirement to make sure the data processing is done in a secure fashion.